Hey guys, as promised, I'd update you when I got to the coast. Just absolutely beautiful. As you can see behind me, it's absolutely stunning. Found this beautiful little spot. I wasn't sure where I was going to stop this afternoon for that swim, but I found this beautiful place in a place called Rottingdean. It's kind of east of Brighton, and just such a wonderful cycle across from Brighton all the way up to Rottingdean, and you've got this cycle trail and track path that runs along the cliffs. It's just stunning. You look out across the right to the right and you've just got the ocean. It's just wonderful. So I've just been for a swim, nipped up to the slipway, found the most wonderful little fish and chip shop, gone and found a beer as well just across from there, and I've just had supper. So much that over the last few months that have happened that I wanted to share with you guys, and I just thought, you know, today would be an opportunity to share with you. I'd finish up my consultations, looked out the window and thought, I just felt this calling to jump on the bike. So I went up over Ditchling Beacon, which is up on the South Downs, one of the highest points along the South Downs, I believe. And then dropped down, connected up with the coast, come along the coast, and I found this beautiful little spot to go for a wild swim, which is perfect. Somewhere to lock up the bike, somewhere to get changed as well. It's just an absolute stunning evening. And I'm going to very shortly head along, west, and then jump back on a train and then head back home. But to be honest with you, it's a night that I wish I brought my bivvy bag with me, because there's many places here that I could have bivvied, woke up in the morning, had some breakfast and then cycled back home. But all of that for another time, you know. Many adventures. So last few months have been kind of crazy. Some of you will really remember how I got into cycling. So how all this started for me. This was born out of actually being told that I had a year before I could possibly end up in a wheelchair, and then I went on to have 2 full hip replacements, born out of a very rare arthritic condition that just knocked me off my feet. And at the time I had this most amazing physio, and she said to me, what you need to do is jump on a static bike, rebuild the muscles after the operations, and to kind of strengthen it before the operations is going to make all the difference. And I went one step further, ended up jumping on a real bike, and I told her, and she's like, yeah, that's absolutely amazing, that's the attitude. Cycling is going to be fundamental to your recovery. So for me, it was kind of, that was the intention, but you know what, it grabbed hold of me, as sometimes these things do, and I absolutely loved it. And I think I love it because it's the people you get to meet, it's the places you go, and the experiences you have. You know, you get to these most beautiful and amazing places on 2 wheels. You know, I'm here now because I've cycled here. I've gone for a swim because I've cycled here, and I think those experiences are just really special. So it wasn't hard to kind of find the passion for it. And I think that, you know, today's reminded me of when I was a child. I was really blessed to be able to spend the summer holidays up in North Wales. My dad had really close friends. Their family come from North Wales, a place called Porthmadog. We spend so much of our childhood by the sea, swimming in the sea, swimming in the harbour. Behind Porthmadog was the mountains, so we can go and run up in the mountains. And I think that that's why it's always been there for me, you know. So the cycling re-stirred that up, because I got to a point where I was on a walking stick and I was unable to walk. And here we are now, all those years later, really embracing what has gone on for me, you know. And I think that's at the heart of it. We go through so much change, and we can go through so much transformation within our lives, challenging, difficult times, but one thing I've really learned and really took from it all is that it's sometimes about meeting the experience and engaging fully into the experience and beginning then to transform it, which I can really proudly say I feel I have. You know, I still have challenges physically, but you know what, they don't stop me living and living fully. Living fully is the heart of what all of this is about. So yeah, last few months have been really big. As I say, that's how I got in cycling. Then went on to a few years later, my world was blessed. I met Sarah, who became a very natural cyclist. She's a very natural cyclist. She hadn't cycled since she was a child, and she just really took to cycling. And we went on our first cycling holiday, which was planned 100 miles. You know, it was only going to be 100 miles over 5 days. Now 100 miles is doable in a day. Again, it's all about the evolution, all about progression over time. And I can remember sitting there at Rockfish, which is a fish and chip shop overlooking the harbour in Plymouth, at the end of a kind of trip, and we still had time off, and Sarah had a twinkle in her eye, and she'd been looking at the map, and she said to me, do you know what, we can cycle from here all the way home. We're in Plymouth, we'd cycled down from North Devon, and we needed to get back to Brighton, and she said to me, it's possible. There's a route that runs all the way from Plymouth all the way to Brighton. All we need to do is turn left. Then when we reach Brighton, we turn left again, and that will take us straight back home. I can remember listening to her and thinking, oh my God. First reaction was a lot of fear, you know, and a lot of kind of really and a lot of excitement all mixed together. Do you know what, we did turn left, we cycled all the way from there all the way back to Brighton. We took another left turn, 500 miles later arrived at our front door. It just shows you what's possible. Really does show you what's possible. And then, you know, we've gone on to do other trips. We've done Scotland, as many of you know, 500 miles all along the west coast of Scotland all the way to top, and then back down through the middle, through the Grampian and Cairngorm mountains. And what was really nuts about that is I rode a full suspension mountain bike that my our dear friend Matt brought for £6.50. So I've rode that expedition on a bike that cost £6.50. You know, so it's always progressing, and I'm a real ambassador for that. You know, the beautiful road bike you saw recently, you know, that's a bike that's been used, and it's one that's a few years old, and it's taken its journey, but again it found its way to me, and I just kind of find that really remarkable as how things evolve, how things line up. You know, I was always very nervous about riding a road bike, and here I am on a flat bar road bike because of the stability. But all those years later, you know, it shows you what's possible, and riding clipped in. I think in a previous video I shared the story about me walking into a cycling shop and looking at cycling shoes because mine were falling apart, and the shoes I picked up, you could wear them with SBDs or you could just wear them normally, and the guy had seen me come in and he come over to me and he said to me, obviously because of your challenges, it's really not going to be possible for you to do that, do you not think? And I really brought into that and kind of grabbed hold of that, and I think that's around 6 years ago. Recent adventure that we had with our dear friend Matt, we done Sea to Sea, which went from the west coast of the UK, made its way all the way across the country, all the way to the east coast to Newcastle. We've gone from the lakes up over the Pennines, up over a real iconic place called Hartside, and dropped down into Newcastle. Amazing adventure over a few days. And I remember Matt turning around and we were talking about clipping in, clipping out, and you know, some of the struggles you can have. And later that evening he kind of looked at me and said, sometimes, you know what, it's about believing in your own ability a lot more than you do. Sometimes it's about believing in your own ability a lot more than you do. Do you know what? That really went in very deeply over the next few days to come. It kind of reshuffled a lot, and the experience of the guy in the shop come up resurfaced, and I saw it from another perspective and could kind of really understand it a lot more deeply. That day I went out, found some SBD shoes, and on my birthday, I think it was, yeah, it was on my birthday. Was it on my birthday? I think it was. I went and clipped in for the first time and rode off down the road. You know, so again, you know, it's a progressive journey, is that we don't need to become stuck. It's sometimes it is about engaging it, it's about kind of working with it, it's about kind of trying to understand it a lot different. Even my trip today, you know, finished up work and it would have been easy to stay at home, looked out the window and went, no, I feel the calling. Jumped on the bike, headed up the station, got to Hassocks, jumped out on Hassocks, rode up over Ditchlin, thought I'm going to head towards the sea, I'm going for a swim, I'm going to have supper and a beer, and then I'm going to head back home. You know, there's a whole world out there, as our dear friend Matt says. It's all about getting up, getting out and getting connected. Something else I really want to share with you is that next year is going to probably see us do the biggest adventure of life. There's a huge adventure, more of that as we go forwards, but something that happened over the last couple of days that was kind of quite profound is I was sitting there doing up, finishing up some admin, and I suddenly felt a presence behind me, a very, very strong presence behind me. And as I felt that presence, I kind of tuned in, I listened, and it was a gentleman standing there in 3/4 length shorts, and they looked like tweed to me, with a shirt and a jacket, a neckerchief, and his leather shoes. And I looked at his leather shoes and thought, they're cycling shoes. They were cycling shoes of the time. As I kind of become aware of that, I heard a trumpet call, very unusual, very strange, very surreal. Heard a trumpet call, and then the words Clarion, and then the words the Clarion. I then spent the next hour trying to kind of integrate that experience, allow it just to wash over me. I sat there at my computer and put Clarion, the Clarion, cycling. What come up was the Clarion Cycling Club, that go back to 1894. A group of guys established this cycling club in 1894. What was really interesting is that they had connections to the Clarion newspaper. Some of you may know about the Clarion newspaper, and what they were about was bringing working class people together, and through cycling kind of creating an element of freedom and shared experiences, and all about kind of fellowship and friendship. And I thought, you know what, that's so really interesting. And they kind of, at the heart of what they stand for is integrity and experience, and uniting and bringing people together through cycling. And I just thought, what amazing values that this club have. Do you know what's really interesting? The club is still going today. To this day, the club is still going. It's survived all that time. Yes, it's evolved, it's changed, but it's still going to this time. And they have brigades all around the country. It's not only national, but it's also international as well. And I'm proud to say that I've joined the London Brigade of Clarion Cycling Club. I'm not sure where it's going to take me. I don't know loads about it, but you know, the way I look at it is go along, see, experience, feel, see where it takes you. So yeah, another really funky update that I wanted to share with you. I have no idea where that's going to take me, but what I saw was that they gather and meet, they go off for rides, normally end up at a tea house or a brewery, share some food, share a drink, share a pot of tea, and share the experience. That can't be wrong, can it? So here we are, guys. I'm going to leave all that with you, and I'm going to share the view with you one more time. Just absolutely stunning. So that's where I went swimming just there. Just really beautiful. I feel really blessed today. So I thought I'd share all that with you. It's been a little while, but as Matt says, hey dear friend, get up, get out, get connected. There's a whole world out there. I'll see you all very soon, guys. Take care. Bye.